very warm welcome to Newswatch tonight. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Melissa Oduor. With me on the sign language tonight is Boniface Muredi. Newswatch begins now. We start off with an advisory to Kenyans in Iran and Israel from the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs that says, in light of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran, the State Department for Diaspora Affairs issues the following urgent advisory to all Kenyan nationals in Israel and Iran, that the safety and well-being of Kenyans abroad remains our utmost priority as the situation in the Middle East continues to evolve. Safety and security guidelines issued here: 1. Exercise extreme caution. 2. Avoid non-essential movement. Monitor local media and alerts. Follow local authority instructions, emergency preparedness, documents, and emergency supplies. Now, the statement continues to say, contact our missions in Tel Aviv and Tehran if you require urgent assistance or are in distress, using the details provided that include the Tel Aviv at mfa.go.ke email address provided there from the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, cautioning Kenyans living in Israel and Tehran. Back to the news now. A somber mood hangs over the country as outrage grows following the brutality of police officers during the peaceful protests, with the recent victim being Boniface Karaoke, a mask vendor who was shot at close range. Civil society groups are now demanding justice for victims of police brutality and further demand the resignation of Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, whom they say is culpable for the police brutality. The activists have condemned the government's silence, urging President William Ruto to break his silence and take immediate action to uphold justice and restore public trust in state institutions. They're also calling for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the officer responsible for shooting Karaoke, insisting that those behind such unlawful acts must be brought to book to deter further abuse of power by security forces.
To condemn what happened yesterday. So yesterday we went to the streets to demand justice for Albert Oduor. And serikali kazidi kutuongezea kidonda. Instead of them giving us justice, they went ahead and hired goons to come and attack us. They went ahead and shoot us. So we are here to announce today that tomorrow is going to be a national holiday. We are going to close the nation briefly for innovation. We cannot continue with the normalcy when the government we elected is killing us. Tomorrow, we will be on the streets demanding justice for Albert Oduor, Boniface Karaoke, who was shot. A guy was just hustling. He was just doing business. And then the police shot him. I personally have served as a police officer. And what happened yesterday at Joy Tukufunzo Aqua Training College, we demand that the government arrest the person responsible for shooting Boniface.
We are gathered here today, not because we want to, but because we are tired. Tired of burying our young people, tired of the bullets, tired of the lies, and tired of the regime that protects killers in uniform. It is no longer just police brutality. It is a coordinated war against young people in this country. They are picking us from our homes, from our streets, from peaceful protests, and turning our lives into hashtags and funeral announcements. Since last year, our youth have been gunned down, disappeared, tortured, and dumped like garbage. And what have the so-called institutions of justice done? Nothing. Not a single police officer has been imprisoned for these crimes. Not one. We dare the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, we dare the Inspector General of Police show us a single officer who is in jail right now for killing innocent young people. Just one. We don't have any single police officer who is serving as a jail term for killing us.
Boniface Karaoke, the mask hawker, filmed during yesterday's protests as police fired at him in close range, is fighting for his life at the Kenyatta National Hospital, KNH. According to his father, John Karaoke, Boniface, who sustained gunshot injuries to the head, is not dead and has been widely reported. I beg your pardon. Flanked by Busia Senator Kia Omtata, the family has urged Kenyans to ignore reports that Boniface had succumbed to the head injuries sustained during the shooting. Senator Omtata has, on his part, condemned the police brutality witnessed yesterday and called for accountability and respect to the Constitution by the security officers.
Boniface Mwangi Kariuki na anafanyaga kazi ya hawking, alikuwa anauza mask na mimi pia ni hawking. Sema nimemlea kwa shida sana, lakini sasa niko na huzuni kulingana na sasa mahali yako, lakini si mbaya sana, tutaomba bado atakuwa poa.
Yesterday we were doing our business as usual. We were venting mask with Boniface Kariuki Mwangi. Fortunately alikuwa anauzia mask pale Imenti. Fortunately askari akakuja akaanza wali tear gas canisters ndio zilikuwa zinalia, so akiuza mask pale askari akamkujia akampiga makofi. After that akainua mikono. Baada ya kuinua mkono ndio askari aliweza kumshoot na akaweza kuanguka. So from there aliletwa hapa Kenyatta na amekuwa akishughulikiwa na madaktari.
Lakini muhimu ni kwamba watu wote ambao wako hapa ambao wameumia ambao wako kwenye hospitali ni wale waliumizwa na polisi ama wale wahuni ambao walikuwa wameletwa na Bwana Sakaja kufuruga hiyo maandamano ya amani. Sasa kuna mtu hapa ameletwa hapa kwa sababu ya Mungu ama nini? Ni kwa sababu ya uhalifu ambao imetendwa na polisi na alafu na gavana wa Nairobi kupitia kwa wale watu walioajiri kuja kupiga vijana kwa barabara.
Now, the National Police Service has interdicted the 2 police officers filmed shooting the hawker during Tuesday's demonstrations in the Nairobi Central Business District. Police spokesperson Mushiri Nyaga, in a statement, said the constables Cleansy Barasa Masinde and Dan Khan Kiprono are being processed by the homicide team at the DCI headquarters pending further action. While stating that it deeply regrets the unjustified act and sympathizes with the victim and the family, the police service said the hawker, Boniface Kariuki, had undergone a successful surgery and was recuperating. Now, separately, the judiciary has condemned the rising incidences of police brutality and the growing trend of peaceful protests being infiltrated by goons vowing to uphold justice when the matters are brought before its courts. In a statement, Judiciary spokesman Paul Ndemo reiterated that the National Police Service bears constitutional responsibility to identify, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who sponsor or orchestrate acts of violence. And the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has decried police assault of civilians during the demonstrations by youthful protesters who were demanding accountability over the death of blogger Albert Ojwang while in police custody. Addressing the press, LSK President Faith Odhiambo said the images of police officers charged with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties of Kenyans now involved in acts of violence against the protesters and looting goods from shops was eroding public trust and damaging the credibility of the National Police Service. The LSK has put the number of those assaulted by police officers during yesterday's demos at 17.
This is an anarchy, an act of impunity that goons can be deployed as a tool for repression against people expressing their democratic and constitutional rights. The police, instead of upholding law and order, watched on and even participated in the thuggery. We have seen images of police officers looting and making away with laptops from shops broken in by the goons. Sadly, those whom the people of Kenya have entrusted to protect their lives and property are at the heart of undermining the safety and security of Kenyans. Against the backdrop of recent acts of disproportionate violence perpetrated by the police over the recent months, the complicity and acquiescence of the police amid runway crimes against peaceful protesters and onlookers alike discloses a worrying trend of our National Police Service being reduced to a conduit of violent crimes.
And as tension over the killing of protesters in the country persists, Christ is the Answer Ministry's sit-in Bishop Callisto Odede has condemned the rising police brutality and what he describes as a systemic cover-up of murder. Referring to the death of teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody and the recent shooting of a hawker in Nairobi, Bishop Odede in her statement said security officers appear to be operating with impunity and disregard for human life. He questioned who ordered the killings, criticized the use of hired guns to disrupt peaceful protests, and warned that the blood of innocent Kenyans is crying out for justice. Bishop Odede has called for the arrest and prosecution of all individuals involved, not just resignations, and urged leaders to address citizens' concerns instead of treating protesters and online activists as threats. He emphasized the biblical commandment, "You shall not murder," as a foundation for restoring national integrity and trust. And to other news now, President William Ruto has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to inclusive development, saying no region or community will be left behind in Kenya's transformation journey. Speaking during a high-level meeting with Kisumu leaders, the president emphasized that development efforts are being channeled into unlocking the full potential of all regions and sectors. He stressed that inclusive development is critical to powering Kenya's economic growth across all value chains. Now, at the meeting, the president announced the gazettement of the elevation of the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital into a level 6 facility with 3 billion shillings approved allocation towards medical service provision in the facility.
We are looking at the expansion of Kisumu County. What we have done is that we are now working on a master plan, a new master plan for Kisumu County. We have already completed a new air control facility which costed the government of Kenya about 3 billion shillings. The next time I'm in Kisumu, I am going to launch it officially because it's done. It was just remaining about 2-3%. And as part of looking at Kisumu as one of the hubs for the region and its expansion. We did approve as cabinet the elevation of the Jaramogi Referral and Teaching Hospital to level 6. And we have now taken over the funding and management of that facility. In this year's budget, I know Professor here has been spending close to 1 billion shillings every year to support that facility. Now, Professor, you will have an extra 1 billion shillings to do something else. You can now go and improve some of the smaller facilities. In our budget from next month, we have allocated 3 billion shillings to not just manage, but to begin the process of transforming that facility to a truly level 6 facility.
Your Excellency, without taking too much time, you were supposed to have come to commission Huduma Center in Kisumu. That is the second Huduma Center within our county. In Kenya, it is the 59th Huduma Center. I'm bringing this up because I want to let you know that the people have such access to government services, easy access, and I also want to let you know that the local mama in the village can now go to get birth certificate, and the turnaround time is 20 minutes. You go to register, within 20 minutes, you leave with your birth certificate. Identity cards, within 1 week, at most 9 days, you come out with the identity card.
I want to thank you most sincerely for being the president that sees Nyanza as being part of Kenya. And I want to ask, my only ask will be that even as we try to develop, I would want us to see the very vulnerable. When it comes to agriculture, beyond fertilizer, I would like to request that you also invest in seedling on crops like avocado, crops like coffee, where we have we are planting coffee in order for us to have enough production in the next 2 years for those industries that we are putting up to actually make sense. If we leave production only to the middle class and the rich, we will keep our people in poverty. So we want to aid them to also be part of the production.
And First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto is among 14 First Ladies attending the 7th edition of the Merck Foundation First Ladies Initiative FLI Summit held in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The summit, convened by the Merck Foundation, has brought together 14 First Ladies from Africa and Asia, Merck Foundation beneficiaries, development partners, and members of the media. Now, the forum serves as a platform for First Ladies to discuss and collaborate on strategies to improve access to quality healthcare and promote girls' education in their respective countries.
The Merck Foundation's education program, Educating Linda, currently supports 47 underprivileged yet high-performing Kenyan schoolgirls by offering full scholarships from secondary school until they graduate from college. I believe every girl in Kenya and across Africa deserves the opportunity to pursue her dreams, to see herself as a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a scientist, a pastor, or any other profession she aspires to. This remarkable platform inspires collaboration, action, and real impact across our beloved continent and beyond. I believe as First Ladies, it is our responsibility to establish and build strong, long-term partnerships with organizations like the Merck Foundation that can help us to embrace access to quality and equitable healthcare solutions and support girl-child education for our communities.
The Aga Khan University's Graduate School of Media and Communications has released a new study revealing a high prevalence of sexual and gender-based violence against women athletes across Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. The report, titled Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Against Women in Sports in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, reveals that 82% of female athletes are more vulnerable to SGBV than their male counterparts. Verbal abuse tops the list of violations, followed by emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, often committed by coaches, team officials, and even spectators. Professionals and competitive athletes report higher levels of vulnerability, meaning longer exposure to sports is associated with a higher risk of abuse. Now, 748 respondents participated in the survey, and 18 in in-depth interviews across 32 national sports federations and associations. The report has called for urgent action from sports federations, governments, and the civil society, with education, awareness, and stricter penalties cited as the most effective ways to reduce abuse. Mandatory training for coaches and enforcement of safeguarding policies were also cited as critical steps forward.
The sad part of these statistics is that of the murders. They all happened at home, and the alleged suspects are either husbands, wife, boyfriend, or partner in spaces that anyone should be feeling safer than any other place. Agnes Tirop was murdered in her house, as I just said earlier on. Edith Muthoni was hacked to death at home in Kerugoya, in the house. Damaris Mude was killed in Iten, in the house she was living in. Samson Kandie was murdered in his compound, not in the house, but in the compound of his house, where he lived. And Rebecca Cheptegei was killed at home after alleged partner poured petrol on her and lit the fire. What does that tell us? Because those people who are in the house, there are only two, just the two of them. So I think we need to bring up a lesson here that if that is the case, how can we make these people report very fast to the authorities?
It is a call to action, and we have the right stakeholders in the room. There's been a lot that has been said about education and training and awareness, and that essentially must lead the way. There's also a clarion call for stronger policies, and we have the right people in the room, better governance structures, having women participating in those in management, safer reporting channels, and increased funding to reduce conditions that make athletes vulnerable, especially young and those who are very early in their careers.
We will take a short break now. We will be back with the day's business and sports stories. Don't go too far. Remember, we're having a conversation on child welfare with our guests already on set, waiting to have this conversation, coming 3 days after the world celebrated the International Day of the Girl, the Child in Africa.
This week on Testify.
While I was in class 5, I think, my best friend, she introduced me to pornography.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
class 5.
Class 5, I was just 9 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know what it was. For over 9 years, I was struggling with pornography, and there was not a day where I did not watch porn. It was more a struggle of pleasure and purity. I would say that my journey of deliverance was back and forth journey, because we all know when it comes to addiction, it's not easy for a person to just come out of it. It's not an overnight thing that you change, because you will encounter, there's an encounter with God and God delivers you, but there's always Satan who's always ready to devour us and come at us with the same things, same points that we are weak at.
Only on Hope TV. Look and live. Welcome to the world of Hope Media, a media unit of Christ is the Answer Ministries that is committed to spreading the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ through the transformative power of media. Hope Media is dedicated to utilizing various forms of media to spread the message of hope, love, and redemption to all people around the world. Hope Media consists of various units that work together to achieve this goal. These units include Hope FM. Hope FM is your #1 Christian radio station, offering you discussions on current day-to-day issues, inspiring music, life-changing sermons, and news updates, broadcasting 80% in English and 20% in Swahili, with listenership of over 12 million every month. Hope TV. Hope TV programming is designed to inspire, educate, and challenge the viewer with wholesome content to reach various demographic groups, children, youth, and adults, both male and female, with viewership of over 24 million every month. Hope Recording Studios. Hope Recording Studios is a state-of-the-art recording facility that offers high-quality recording, mixing, and mastering services. It is designed to meet the needs of musicians, artists, and other creative professionals who require top-notch recording facilities. Hope Creative. At Hope Creatives, we believe that inspiring graphic design work doesn't just happen. It takes the right people with wild, out-of-the-box ideas committed to the same ideals, working together to make it happen. We listen, we learn, we brand. Hope Digital. Hope Digital is a creative digital unit within Hope Media. We are driven by a passion to creatively express ourselves while influencing you with the same creative energy in online spaces and beyond. At Hope Media, we believe that media can be a powerful tool for spreading the message of hope as well as grow your business through advertisements, and we do this with excellence. For more information regarding our services, please visit www.hopemediakenya.org or call us on 0709 861 180. Hope Media. We keep hope alive.
To business news now, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, has reaffirmed its commitment to regional security through artificial intelligence and cyber security during a consultative seminar held in Nairobi. Speaking at the event, IGAD Executive Secretary Dr. Wokne Gebeyehu emphasized that AI holds transformative potential for combating crime and improving law enforcement across member states. At the seminar hosted by Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for ICT, William Kabogo, and attended by key partners including Norway's ambassador to Kenya, addressed rising cyber threats, with Kenya alone losing over $83 million to cybercrime in the year 2023. Dr. Gebeyehu proposed the Nairobi commitment calling for all IGAD citizens to benefit from AI-enhanced security by 2030, backed by investments in training, infrastructure, and innovation. Air France has introduced the Airbus A350-900 on its Paris-Nairobi route. The new flight boasts of increased seat capacity in response to growing demand for both business and leisure travel, with a 16% increase in seat capacity. Now, the aircraft replaces the Boeing 787-9, which has hitherto been flying the route. The flight will serve the new route with 3 daily flights. The Airbus A350-900 was received at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, marking the aircraft's maiden voyage to Nairobi, the Kenyan capital. Joris Holters, Air France KLM's General Manager for East and Southern Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana, said the Airbus offers enhanced passenger comfort, greater capacity, and consuming lesser fuel than equivalent-sized previous generation aircraft. For sports now, Harambee Starlets thrashed defending champions Crested Cranes of Uganda 4-0 in the second match of the 2025 Sekafa Senior Women's Championship campaign at Azam Sports Complex in Chazami, Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Kenya's attacking force proved relentless, with goals coming from Diana Washera, Dorcas Shikobe, Violet Nanjala, and Martha Amunyolet, who remarkably netted her third goal of the competition. This dominant win further solidified Kenya's position in the 2025 Sekafa Women's Championship, bringing them closer to reclaiming the regional title they last won in 2019. Kenya will play South Sudan this Thursday at Azam Sports Complex, followed by their final match against Tanzania at the same venue on the 22nd of this month. Harambee Starlets head coach Godfrey Oduor emphasized the importance of maintaining momentum as the team prepares for upcoming fixtures, adding that continued support from fans and the federation will be crucial in sustaining the team's growth and success on the international stage.
All Africa. And I think we have 19 players, and this tournament we play after each 2 days, so it is wise to give all the players opportunity to play. So yes, we might see another rotation against South Sudan. Maumbile ya wachezaji wetu inawaruhusu kubadilisha mfumo fulani ndani ya mchezo. The squad depth at the moment is not satisfactory, because we still have some players who played last match and they played also today. So it means that the squad depth is not enough. Kenya goalkeeper, Uganda tuko na goalkeeper pia wanacheza huko. Mtarudisha kongole makocha wale wananoa magolkeeper kuanzia kwa shule. Wanafanya kazi nzuri sana, na inadhibitisha kwamba ile muda wanapatia wasichana na yale mafunzo ambayo wanawapatia ni dhihirisho ya kwamba wanafanya kazi nzuri. So tunazidi tu kuwapatia nguvu ili waweze kuendelea kunoa hawa magolkeeper, na tuweze kuwaona hata wakicheza katika ligi zingine kubwa zaidi, na pia kuendeleza vilabu zile wanachezea nje ya nchi na hata ndani ya nchi na kuwakilisha Afrika kwa ujumla.
To golf now, golfers from the East African region have made significant strides on the official World Golf Ranking following the recently concluded Sunshine Development Tour East Africa Swing Tournaments held at the Thika Greens Golf Resort. and at the Royal Sports Club, where valuable ranking points were on offer. The two tournaments attracted mixed fields of top professionals and elite amateurs drawn from 6 nationalities: Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi, and South Africa, with those who made the cut all earning the OWGR points. We're coming back with a conversation on safeguards for children. Is Kenya on track? And coming to talk to us about these matters and more is child rights advocate Elisha Winger, who takes a look at the wins and the losses for Kenya, even as the country marked the International Day of the African Child 2025 on Monday this week. Don't go too far. We'll be back with that conversation.
Are you in business or agribusiness? Then this is your moment. This June from the 26th to the 28th, CITIM Karen will host the 6th CBF Global Conference and Expo, Africa's premier kingdom business gathering, themed the Eden Mandate. The conference brings together voices shaping faith and enterprise. Hear from keynote speakers like Nick Bridge, a business theologian from the United States, Alan Kilavuka, CEO of Kenya Airways, Bishop Robert Bemba, an agribusiness pioneer from Liberia, and Betty Kibara, director at the Rockefeller Foundation. Come learn, connect, and grow. Get your tickets for just 2,000 shillings. Visit cbf.citam.org to register or WhatsApp 0718-229-390 for details. The Eden Mandate. It's time to tend, keep, and thrive.
Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki msoul.
Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive. Welcome to the world of Hope Media, a media unit of Christ is the Answer Ministries that is committed to spreading the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ through the transformative power of media. Hope Media is dedicated to utilizing various forms of media to spread the message of hope, love, and redemption to all people around the world. Hope Media consists of various units that work together to achieve this goal. These units include Hope FM. Hope FM is your #1 Christian radio station, offering you discussions on current day-to-day issues, inspiring music, life-changing sermons, and news updates, broadcasting 80% in English and 20% in Swahili, with listenership of over 12 million every month. Hope TV. Hope TV programming is designed to inspire, educate, and challenge the viewer with wholesome content to reach various demographic groups, children, youth, and adults, both male and female, with viewership of over 24 million every month. Hope Recording Studios. Hope Recording Studios is a state-of-the-art recording facility that offers high-quality recording, mixing, and mastering services. It is designed to meet the needs of musicians, artists, and other creative professionals who require top-notch recording facilities. Hope Creative. At Hope Creatives, we believe that inspiring graphic design work doesn't just happen. It takes the right people with wild, out-of-the-box ideas committed to the same ideals, working together to make it happen. We listen, we learn, we brand. Hope Digital. Hope Digital is a creative digital unit within Hope Media. We are driven by a passion to creatively express ourselves while influencing you with the same creative energy in online spaces and beyond. At Hope Media, we believe that media can be a powerful tool for spreading the message of hope as well as grow your business through advertisements, and we do this with excellence. For more information regarding our services, please visit www.hopemediakenya.org or call us on 0709 861 180. Hope Media. We keep hope alive.
So we're back with our conversation on safeguarding the children, especially the children in Kenya. And on set with me is Elisha Roth Winga. You know, we're fumbling about your name because, yeah, there's a language I need to get it right. But wow. Thank you so much for availing time to be here.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're a child advocate and a lawyer as well.
Yes.
So the law concerning the child in the Constitution pertains Kenya is a very familiar area for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because before I became a lawyer, I was already a children. I started as a Sunday school teacher.
Okay.
So I started teaching children when I was a child, from around class 8, class 7. So that passion, I became a Sunday school teacher, and now I'm a teacher of Sunday school teachers. So when I did law, I've really focused myself on that area. So as much as I've also worked with the community, working also volunteering with the National Police Service as a community, advocate for the children's rights and stuff like that. Then initiating Mentors Africa. So the issue of children's rights and the interest of children has always been just a natural thing in me.
Close to your heart. Oh, yeah. So on Monday we marked the International Day of the African Child 2025.
And the question is, are we celebrating?
Yeah. So, that's what I actually said we marked, because I'm thinking, this is coming at the back of a lot of cases, a lot of stories of children being abducted, sexually abused. We're still grappling with issues to do with female genital mutilation in this day and age, and it is disheartening. There are some children who are still not in school, cannot afford basic education, and so is Kenya marking, celebrating? What are we doing when the International Day of the African Child is being observed?
I think we are somewhere in between, because I can say we are celebrating because there are milestones that we've also done as a nation. We've made some progress in terms of policy formulation. Kenya has also ratified a number of, treaties, the UNCRC, the ACRWC, among other optional protocols like the child sales, the involvement of pornographic. There are a number of treaties that we have ratified.
Okay.
You look at locally in our constitution, the Constitution 2010, the Children's Act 2022. We have a number of things that we've been able to, the sexual offense, and also the Marriage Act has also been enhanced,
Yeah.
and a lot of things. So if you look at in terms of policy development, we have got a lot to celebrate. But now, even in the looking at the new curriculum, you know, nowadays our children are even taught their rights from as young as in school.
Yeah.
But now when we look at the other side of the coin, in terms of implementation and things on the ground, kwa ground vitu ziko tofauti.
Yes, yes.
So we are celebrating, and at the same time we are not celebrating. So I can say we are not on the on the track, but we are not on the track.
So that the communities now seem to not be very familiar with some of these treaties that you're talking about, even the laws concerning children.
Yes.
So if the community does not know how to handle and what are some of these gains, then what can we say as a country? That information it seems to be hanging in the balance up there. The lawmakers and the policymakers are the ones who seem to know it. And then we on the ground who are handling these children practically don't seem to then know what to do.
That is actually where the gap is. Because if you look at our, as Kenya on paper, I can tell you we are better than UK on paper.
Are you serious?
For real. But when you come on the ground, it's worse than, I don't know. You can't, say. Because number one, there is a lot of, people are not sensitized on these things. There are things I will tell you. Number one, even the government itself is violating Article 53 of the Constitution. Access to, basic education right.
Yes.
And these are things that we don't want to talk about. So if you look at what we have on the Constitution, because if we are to abide by just that alone, then basic education should be free.
Yeah.
Because it's a right of a child to get access to that.
Yeah.
But on the ground, it's different. You look at the issues in terms of child protection and even the children officers. There are areas in Kenya where there are no child, child protection officers.
Are you serious?
Yes, there are areas where there are no child
so that
protection.
then we in the urban centers, the ones in the cities and the towns are the ones who seem to enjoy this.
We seem to enjoy most of the things. But if you move across in the rural, there's nothing. They don't know these things.
So, and then in the family context, what does the law say? Because you talked about something to do with the family, and some of the laws that have been enacted that the families can take advantage. Probably because you're a lawyer, maybe tell us a bit about that so that then we are familiar in the family context.
For example, if you look at the issue of Sexual Offense Act, currently, before we had issues whereby a case would be withdrawn. Maybe the two parties, if it's maybe a rape case or an abuse, a case would be drawn based on the interest of the two parties. Now, you cannot withdraw it based on your interest. It's only the DPP that has got the
right to withdraw any case,
to withdraw. So that's a step, but many people do not know it. Secondly, previously, where there are issues maybe with the single parents. First, the Constitution, Article 43. A child has got a right. Both parents have got equal rights on this child to access. But you've realized sometimes, maybe where there are single parent issues, one parent denies the other one the right to access
this other
child, the child, maybe because of they have got their personal issues. And so you don't feel like you want this other child to, or using a child as a tool to manipulate the other parent.
But now, Winga, how do we then reinforce some of these things? Because maybe as from the Christian sphere, we can say we are a bit privileged. Some of this, we will use the conscience that the Christian faith enables us to have, But how about the wider society? How do we then reinforce some of these issues? Because think about that, where a single parent situation is, a child is caught in between, yet both parents can access this child.
Yeah, that's where the gap is, the sensitization. And that's why I said, on paper we are doing good.
Yeah,
but when it comes to the ground, number one, people are not sensitized, so they don't know. Previously, mostly people believe that when maybe there are issues of child custody, then a mother is more advantaged. According to the current law, the Children's Act, it was repealed. Now, both of you, it's now based on one, the financial ability of the parent. Secondly, the wellness, the well-being, or the stability in terms of, is this parent mentally okay? Is this parent, the environment?
Yeah.
So it's more centered on the child. What is of the best interest of the child, rather than just the mother taking the child. We've had cases whereby the custody is given to the father, even though the child is still a minor, because based on facts, the mother is not in the best position to take care of the child. But the point is, number one, if you look at in line with what the theme for the Day of the African Child 2025, planning and budgeting. The biggest challenge we have is again in the area of planning and budgeting. So we don't have, even these, first I said that there are areas where there are no children officers. There are areas where they are, but the ratio in terms of the number of children officers compared with the population is not measuring up. So there is a lot of sensitization that needs to be done. But what is the problem again? When we are told to go for this public participation and even these, sensitization forums, we are not interested. We are not interested even in reading that constitution. So we are too busy. So the document is there, but you cannot demand for it because you even don't know. And when you are challenged to be part of it, you are too busy. We feel it's not something that we don't want to be part of until the point you are in a fix.
It's when now you start looking at the law and what it says.
Most of the people look for us when they are, it's now, you are now knocking the road, the wall. That's when you are saying, how can I talk to our Wakili?
But can I ask you, like, comparatively in Kenya, in the counties, which county can we say is more proactive towards child welfare and children's safeguards?
It's spread across. Obviously, Nairobi is on the
by virtue to the fact.
By virtue to the fact, and again, Nairobi has got more cases again because there are so many issues. So just the fact that because it's the capital, it's more advantaged. But there are other counties like Kajiado. They're doing a lot.
What are they doing? What's happening in Kajiado?
Especially on the issue of GVB, the gender-based violence, and also the issue of the, how do you call it, female
genital mutilation. Yeah, that was rampant in that area.
So if you look at those areas, the government gave special attention because of those particular areas. But now if you look at generally some counties, let's say Nyan, Siaya, or, where there are no much of these cases, they just left there.
And so that then, you remember the agitation for the girl child, empower the girl child, and then the boy child was left behind, and then now we're trying to balance it out. How is that playing out right now? Because the calls, of course, the calls recently have been, don't leave the boy child behind. However much we used to push for the girl child to be empowered and to be emancipated. How is that playing out, especially in the space where the children are operating in?
Now, if for example, if you look at statistics, we have more single mothers. It shows you that there is an investment on one side that has now outweighed the other side.
So the imbalance again has
there is a serious imbalance because we have women who are so much empowered who should be handled by men who are less empowered.
So by empowering the girl, we disadvantaged the boy.
We ignored, not disadvantaged.
We ignored him.
The boy
and felt he's able to take care of himself.
He's able to
Let's
take care
pull
of
this other one up.
Currently, people who are suffering a lot of mental issues are boy child and men. Because you want to handle this woman who is so much empowered and so strong, and you are not to that mental state. So what happens? Naturally, men, we are created naturally to be, leaders, to be protectors, to be providers. Now, if you want to handle this woman now who is more empowered than you, and then you realize maybe she's earning more than you are earning, she is more educated than you, and at that point, you realize submission now becomes an issue of negotiation. And now some men are the ones who are submitting and the women loving. Instead of men loving, men loving.
And then it's
women.
creating a whole metamorphosis of, gender-based violence starts arising in some of those
situations. So because of that, GVB are growing.
Okay.
And you get it. So we get now children growing up in an environment. I've come to realize an unstable marriage produces an unstable parenting atmosphere. As long as the relationship between mom and dad is not stable, don't lie to yourself. You know, the children will
be affected.
It will be
They'll
affected.
impacted.
And that's why you're now seeing children that are growing. They're growing in an environment where it's not safe, and then separation. There is a research, 2020, that was showing that most of the children that end up in juvenile, 68 point something percent are from single parents. There is something that these children are lacking. So when you're talking about gender-based violence, how can we look at it from the point of creating a safe environment for the children? We've not looked into it from that way. So it comes back to planning. We are not planning a lot. And again, if you look at the way children are, the children aspect of it, even in our government,
yes,
you know, we have been spread across. At some point, the children are under Ministry of Education, then social welfare, then health. So you realize when the budget is being allocated, they are spread across, and you cannot really be able to figure it out. Like, now this is for children. It's been spread across, and the way the government deals with the departments. So we are not really. No one is really focusing on it in terms of, in this, for example, this year's budget. 702 billion point something has been allocated for education. How much can you quantify? How much has been specifically allocated for the girl child on the issue of sanitary towels? Yet we said we want to reduce the sanitary towel that is being imported so that we can produce it internally. Have we planned in terms of infrastructure to deliver the sanitary towels that will be adequate? Vaccination. Do we have enough vaccines? Have we taken care of it in the health? Yes, we have around 49.1 billion increment in the, in the health department.
Yes.
They have allocated around 138 billion for health. But the question is, how is this money subdivided to the maternal issues?
Yes.
You get it. Before we had the Linda Mama, and we were protecting. Now, recently, my brother's wife gave birth. And a normal birth, we had to part with around 15,000.
Which was taken care of in Linda Mama previously.
Yes, before, I remember then, you just walk into the hospital and you give birth. So my question is, are you paying to bring in a new citizen in the country?
Oh, wow. What a question.
Yes, are we paying to bring in a new citizen into the country?
Wow.
And these are questions that politicians need to ask themselves.
Wow.
Are we paying to give you voters?
Yeah. Well, Winga, now let's go to the digital spaces here and safeguarding the children in the digital space. Cyber crime is becoming a thing. But here's the I don't know if it's a disconnect, it's a situation that we're having where the CBE is allowing kids to now, explore and learn from themselves. And of course, they come and want homework and they ask for, Mom, give me your phone, I need to Google something. So we're actually sending them to danger.
Yes.
So what are we doing to protect children in this space that we're sending them to?
Yes, as I told you, we've done so much when it comes to policy formulation. We have a very nice Data Protection Act that I think many Kenyans are not really well privy to. And when it comes to now sensitization, because there's a lot that is in that act that we are not really doing and we are not really privy to, even if we are to be asked on the same. Because no matter how we want to take it or not, the digital space is the next. That's where we are going.
Yes,
and we cannot stop our children.
Yep.
But we must have ways to curb and control all this. For example, you realize parents who are doing, they are doing, is it diaries or blogging their children's life? And you are posting, oh, my child is in this school, oh, he has done this. What you do not know is, number one, you are breaching the rights of that child.
We are.
Yes. Number two,
Wow.
you are risking your child to abduction.
Yes.
Because there's someone who will be monitoring your child, and they know, okay, they go to this school, at this time they leave, this is what they're doing, and then you will say your child is abducted. This is the life. They will know, okay, they come from this family, they have these. So if this child is being driven on this car, whatever, if I abduct this child and demand this amount of
I
money,
will be able to get it.
I'll be able to get it.
Oh, my Lord.
So in one way or the other, you are risking the life of your own child.
So we are also sending them into danger.
Yes.
Oh my.
Secondly, some of these sites are not protected, and in Kenya, mostly you realize our, that access, the laws to curb children content and stuff like that. Apart from when Dr. Mutua pushed for the, for censoring for the LGBTQA, content.
Yes.
We have not created other laws, and we've not pushed much on the issue of how can we be able to censor what children can access. Some parents do not create, how do you call it, child lock or child security features in their phones or in their machines. And I can tell you the easiest way is you link your machine with your email. Anything they open will be notified to you.
Yes.
And I have a friend of mine. She was training on protection, how she protects her children from effect of social media.
We need to watch about a bit more of that. Yes? That should be circulating.
Yes. So she was saying, make sure that all the gadgets that the children have, they are connected to her email. So she says, don't access this. If you access, she will be notified.
Yes.
So they already know, Mom will always, they don't know how, but Mom will always know.
Yes, I went to this site.
I went to this
site.
Now, education-wise, what people do not know is that too much social media affects the development of the brain of the child. And especially at that child, between the age of around 9, 10, 11, 12, they are at their prime mind development stage. Now, you realize most of the children cannot concentrate so much in class.
Yes.
They are easily distracted because their mind cannot concentrate. So the more at that point, they need to play more. They need to do things that are technically engaging their mind. They need to read so that the ability, the mind can develop the ability to concentrate for longer time and absorb. If they are, apart from just games, music, if they get involved in creative things like drawing, singing, and stuff like that. Why? They help in expanding the absorption ability of the brain of a child. Now, when this child will be now 14, 16, 17, and now they're introduced into technical courses like, physics, engineering, law, those things that require a lot of technical reasoning, their mind will be able to concentrate for longer and can be able to sustain that pressure. But the children that are always on social media,
gadgets,
it lowers the concentration of their mind. Now, by the time they will get to now going to those technical courses, that's why you realize someone goes to university, he went to study engineering,
medical,
but they drop and start doing easier things because their mind cannot comprehend. They cannot, take it.
What can the church do? What can the church do? We need to finish this conversation because I need to know.
It's an area that, church is a community.
Yes.
And most of the time we've always said these things in our wanasiasa. Even when you call the church to come to participate, even I'm a trainer of children ministers. I travel across, Kenya, across, and even outside, just training on children ministry. And most of the time when you talk to churches, how can we train on child protection? Let's leave aside the issue of, evangelism, discipleship.
It's protecting the child.
Protecting the child. How prepared are your teachers, psychologically, mentally, even to detect? In many cases, I have detected children who have got issues back at home. Yes, you can detect because I've trained and I know. I've detected children who are involved in cults.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I've detected children who are in drugs. There are things that as a teacher they will not tell you.
Yes.
But if you have the training,
Yeah,
understanding the child psychology, you will be able to pick. But most churches, do you know that many churches, all the children ministers, they are not even privy to the Child Protection Act. And by law, you should not handle a child, whether you are a teacher, you are a pastor, you are working around children. You must go through the the child protection policy and append to it that will uphold it. Because if you violate these children, on what basis will you be?
And ignorance is no defense.
Yes. So churches need to take it very serious that we must. Do you know, according to the data, the Data Protection Act, you are not allowed to showcase the videos. For example, these conferences that we do, and we are using our children videos to show our DVBS and our, our conference. The last year's event was powerful with the children's video. I can sue you people if there is no,
there's no written consent.
There is no written consent. And actually, there are cases where schools have been sued and they have paid.
We will end this conversation here. Thank you so much, you guys. Familiarize yourself with the Data Protection, Children Protections Act and all the guidelines therein. Thank you so much, Elisha Winger.
Thank you very much.
Child protection and a lawyer. Children issues are at his heart, and we thank you so much for availing time to just come and speak to us concerning these matters. My name is Melissa Oduor on the anchoring, together with Boniface Mureithi on the sign language, with us on Newswatch tonight. Have a good night.